What's going on, Fiends? Hopefully everybody got to go and see Five Nights at Freddy's at the theater this past weekend, or you did like me and you watched it on Peacock app. But before I really start digging into the movie, I kind of just want to get my positives out of the way first, and in no way does that mean I'm just going to tear this movie apart and just rip it a new asshole. That's not it at all. I just want to get those positives out of the way because I do have quite a few negatives, but it's not, it's not the negatives that would just say I completely hated the movie, which is not the case. Positives, what can you say? Jim Henson's Creature Shop. They have yet to make anything for any movie that looks like trash. I think going into this, we all knew, what they were going to be bringing to the game. It was not going to be anything shoddy. That's one. All the actors, Josh Hutcherson, Piper Rubio, Matthew Lillard, and Elizabeth Lail, the main cast of the film, I thought they all played their parts excellent. Had no complaints in anybody's acting at all in the film. And for Miss Emma Tammy, this was her first true big budget film. She had done another film called The Wind, which was an indie horror film. So she's coming in from the indie side of the house, which is a whole different world, right? So this was her first true big budget movie where she had all the money in the world behind her. And she didn't disappoint. She actually handled this movie like she has been directing big budget features for quite a while. Can't complain there. And the fact that they pretty much kept the majority of this film within the confines of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is where the majority of the movie should have been. And that's where they pretty much kept it for roughly 70-75% of the film. So, as you can tell, I am not a professional movie reviewer. I can only go off of my feeling, my gut, how I felt when I finished the movie, all of that. So, just to let you all know, not professional at all. Just a regular dude that watches movies like everybody else. But my biggest gripe about the entire movie is you have all this lore at your disposal. And one of the main producers and writers for the film was Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's. You have, 28 books to include novels, guides, and graphic novels that expand on the lore. You have 8 mainline games that expand on the lore. You have the creator as one of the writers for the film, who knows the lore because he created the lore. None of it was explained in the film. And this is going to be my biggest knock on the film out of anything. If you didn't know what Five Nights at Freddy's was and you were going into this movie, you would have no clue what the hell is even going on. For me, this film felt like it was made exclusively for Five Nights at Freddy's fans, which, okay, it's fair to say that it was. But you're trying to bring in new fans to the franchise to consume the games, the books, all of that. Scott, you're trying to make a new consumer base, and to completely ignore all the lore that you had and just give us this bare bones movie that, if it was just a one-off, okay, but I'm thinking you're trying to make a movie franchise out of this. You would think you would want to incorporate some of that, like, What's the backstory of William Afton? Was not explained. All that was told was his motivations, but none of what got him to that point. Where was Henry Emily, his business partner who helped him open Freddy Fazbear's Pizza? That was completely ignored. Everything that was the lore and backstory was just kind of just over here. It felt like to me that this movie has been in development hell for so long that they just threw something together real quick to get it out there in theaters before, the plug got pulled on it again. And I get it, because so many different studios have had the rights to this film, and though there was creative differences, mainly on Scott's part with most of those studios, hence why it stayed stuck in development hell. And Scott had every right. He is the creator. He wants what he created to be portrayed a certain way. Fine. But the end product that we got with this isn't what he created. It is in name and look, but not in story. Not in story. Not at all. So that is my biggest knock on this film. I mean, if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you probably liked it. I liked it. But if you're not a fan and know nothing about it, then you're going to be completely lost. You really, truly are. And I don't think it helps bring in any new consumers to this particular product or IP. And if anybody has never read any of this lore, it's so deep and it's so fascinating, and it's so good. And that's why I cannot understand for the life of me why it was ignored the way it was. I mean, Michael Afton, well, not in this movie. Vanessa, Vanny, okay. Spoiler, Afton's daughter. But there was no mention of the remnant, which is what he used to trap the souls in the animatronics. Why did Afton do any of this? I know, I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but that has just been my biggest gripe with the film, and I had to watch it twice, because the first time I watched it, after I got done watching it, I was like, it was all right, man. I actually liked it. And I didn't feel that I could do a fair review without going into it a second time and casting my joy and just emotional feelings aside and just going at it and look at it from a logical point of view and just picking out what I found to be the biggest flaw of the film. It wasn't the acting, wasn't the directing, wasn't for the fact that they didn't have money, because they had all the money that they could possibly want. Wasn't for the promotion. Wasn't anything other than they completely ignored the lore that was already established and gave no explanation as to why any of this was happening. So, if I had to give this a grade from 1 to 5, I'm going to have to give this a 2.5 Freddy Fazbear Pizza slices out of 5. That's as high as I can give it. But anyway, guys, that is my unprofessional review of Five Nights at Freddy's. But with that said, you all let me know down here in the comments below if you've seen the movie and how you truly felt about it. Did you like it? Are you middle of the road, or did you dislike it? Also, too, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you would you please go down there and hit that little subscribe button below, Hadouken the crap out of that notification bell, give us a thumbs up, and as always, it's your old buddy John, and I'll see you again next time.